So in some ways, the mentors are comparable to graduate teaching student assistants, except that they already have a master's degree. They may not be as engaged immediately in the learning process as a graduate student is. But it sounds like they're qualified and they have the working world experience. So happy with that. I want to shift degrees. Feel free to comment more on it if you like, but okay. I want to shift a little bit to what are your tuition rates like over time? So I believe you put them up there. I didn't. Okay. I think I remember 3250 as one of the numbers.
Right. Representative, thank you for making that clarification and that point also. Some point I'd like to make is we haven't actually raised tuition in 5 years. We're self-supporting on $6,000 a year of tuition. We don't receive any recurring state funds. We have philanthropic support just like any other institution, but we manage our business model in a different way. We use technology to do the teaching. The only clarification I would make, Representative, on our student mentors is, by and large, most graduate students don't have kind of that master's degree and have worked in the field, and I would equate them more to what you would typically see at an institution as an adjunct faculty member. In fact, most of our students, those mentors either have been adjunct faculty or move from the profession.
Representative Sheehan. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm curious about the pace. With 30 months being the average, and I assume that's coming in with 0 credits, and they're not transferring anything. The average is 2.5 years to get it from 0 to a bachelor's degree. Can you talk about a little bit about how quickly you could get it done? Like, what's the fastest one you've done? What's the slowest? And then, and what's your failure rate of people that don't complete?
It's a great question. Representative, the average would include kind of the whole spectrum. So it would be those students who come in with some credit hours. Okay. It's kind of the all-in average is 30 months. Our student range, we have had, we have all kinds of examples. By and large, the students who are moving through for the baccalaureate degree program move quicker because they're coming in with some set of skills. Say a former veteran who's done contracts in Afghanistan and procurement in Afghanistan. Probably if they're going through the BA program in finance or marketing, they have some skills that they bring to the table. So 30 months is the average. The shortest time frame that we've had someone, and I only know of, I don't know the shortest time frame on actually baccalaureate degrees, but on master's degrees, we've actually had an emergency room RN who was an RN for 18 years. She went from her RN to her BSN in 6 months. She moved through the curriculum very quickly because she had all those skill sets. We've had, so that we have examples all across the board of that. Our students range in age anywhere from 18 to 80, but by and large, the bell curve hits to the 36 mark. So a lot of our students in the baccalaureate degree program come in with some skills. So I think I hopefully answered your question.
I think so. But the failure rate of the people that don't complete, and then the longest that it's taken somebody to get a bachelor's, like if you had somebody take, $60,000 worth of tuition, how to get it done?
It's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what our the record for the longest enrollment is. We do have a lot of students who actually will take term breaks, and they'll stop out for a term, working with their mentor to set that out. The graduation rate for our institution is actually hard to calculate, primarily because we're growing so fast and our model has changed in the last 5 years. But we have about a 40%, 41% graduation rate according to the traditional way of looking at that. But considering that we're an institution that accepts about 90% of the students in the baccalaureate level that come through our institution, we're not happy with that, but we continue to work on that as our goal. As the model continues to improve, that number is going up higher.
Thank you.
My question is regards to the personal mentors. What kind of capacity do you have within the system for expansion of that as you become more and more popular, or this becomes more and more of an attractive alternative? Is there capacity within the system to absorb students? Do you have do you have other mentors that you can bring in as needed, or how does that all work within your institution?
Representative, great question. The reason why this is so scalable is because, by and large, the mentors are there to facilitate the learning, to be kind of the guide on the side. The technology, so a typical competency will be there will be learning resources that a student will be exposed to. Once they accomplish the knowledge of that learning resource, then they take the assessment and move through. So what I'm trying to explain is that the student requires the discipline of self-learning, and the faculty member serves as that guide to move them through or point them to other types of learning resources that help them to pass that competency. This isn't a solution for all students. We know that. That's why we also focus only on workforce areas. But for a type of student who's really ready to go back, they're time constrained because they can't go in September and sit in a class. They can do this online on their schedule. They do very well through our system. We actually require students to do, as Amy pointed out, kind of a education without boundaries course prior to their enrollment. So that the scalability of this is unlimited from the standpoint of we don't build our own courses. There are thousands of courses out there from MIT to the Khan Academy that help students learn. And so what we do is we find the best resources and tie those to the competencies so we can scale this as quickly as we need to. In Indiana, that's where I'm from. When I worked in the governor's office there, we went from 200 students 2 years ago to 2,000 students today, and went from 2 employees to 130 employees working specifically for WGU Indiana. So the scalability is unlimited at this point.
Any other questions? You want to sum up anything about what Washington's done in regards to this?
Yeah, well, and just one last question, Scott, and then we have to move on. So the state of Washington has created, or WGU has created, a WGU Washington. And I know here in Oregon, WGU has relationships with different institutions. I know they do with my own, the Portland Community College. What do you see as the prospects for Oregon, going down the same road as Washington has, that is, there being a WGU Oregon, and what would be the benefits of our doing that?
Well, the prospect relies on I think the legislature, and the governor's office by and large. When WGU Indiana was formed by an executive order by the governor, the same as the way Texas was formed, Washington was unique in that it was a legislative initiative that moved through to kind of endorse and support WGU. And that model has proved as successful as any other. So the prospect, but here's the thing. We're being a lot more intentional about this. We don't want to grow. We don't plan on having 50 WGUs. We plan on growing as a state sees a need for what we provide and has a commitment to what we want to do. And the commitment is the conversation this morning was very illuminating. It's a commitment from the state. The legislature and the governor's office, and in fact in some cases higher education has a commitment that they want to engage WGU in this role of targeting adult learners and providing this type of resource. What that looks like can be anything. I mean, it can be. So that prospect is very high on our list. If Oregon governor and the legislature wants to move forward in this direction, we'd be glad to engage in that conversation and what that would look like in the future. The commitment side is, in our minds, less a commitment of resources than a commitment of will. And that's where we want to make sure that we have a good foundation moving forward in states as we do this. We've learned a lot of lessons over the last year.